Okay, welcome. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's WOTSO Skill Swap. For those I haven't met, I'm Tia, and I'm the space leader at MacArthur Square and Gregory Hills. So at WOTSO, we're all about building, creating local connections and giving our members practical tools to grow their business. These skill swap sessions are part of that, sharing real knowledge from people doing the work every day. So quickly, the session is being recorded, so you will be able to revisit it later. Please keep yourself on mute during the session. And if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. Hazel and Lisa are monitoring the chat for us. And so if it's relevant, we'll interrupt and do it straight away. Otherwise, we will cover as many as we can at the end. Today's session is all about lead generation and how to actually get consistent qualified leads online. And we're doing that through online ads today. A lot of small businesses rely on word of mouth or have tried ads before without much success. So today's really about simplifying what works and what doesn't. We have with us today Dante Botha from Conversion Advantage. Conversion Advantage is an online lead generation agency that helps businesses fill their sales pipelines with qualified leads across platforms like Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, TikTok, and more. They generate thousands of leads every month for businesses across industries, including e-commerce, automotive, insurance, and travel, and have worked with brands like Toyota, Adidas, and Volkswagen. So Dante definitely knows what works when it comes to getting results online. Dante is going to walk us through some how lead generation works, how to choose the right platforms, and how to start turning online activity into real sales opportunities. I'm handing it over to you, Dante. Welcome.
Thank you, Tia. That's a nice warm welcome. Thank you. And thank you all for making the time to catch up. We've got about, I think, 45 minutes or 40 minutes of time together. And I am going to share as much as I possibly can with all of you on how to grow your businesses. And we're fortunate to on our end to have across the clients we work, we spend millions and millions of dollars across ads, and we're going to share the things that we've learned, and my hope is that as we go through what we share, there will be different insights that will be relevant to different types of businesses, as we get into the conversation. So let me get into it. The first thing I would like to do, actually, just to get into this, is address the biggest problem that we see and why businesses are struggling to scale. And the key thing is that we see this because we've addressed it from a marketing point of view. We work across New Zealand, extensive across New Zealand and Oz, and we've won a lot of awards to try to solve this problem. But the key thing that we sort of want to address in this process is really a book that's written by the 7% Club by a lady with the name Jenny Stillwell, where she says only 7% of companies across Australia actually do more than $2 million of turnover. Now, that I think is for many of the presentations we do, that is a huge shock because we'd expect that to be more. Out of the 2.4 million businesses, according to the stats here, almost at 2.4. I think the latest numbers are probably around 2.5 million. Only 7% would go over the 2 million. What's even more interesting is that only 1.6%, which is about 37,000, would do more than $10 million turnover, which means that as Australians and New Zealanders, that you find yourself in that bucket that we got a lot of businesses under the $2 million mark and a lot of businesses under the $1 million mark. And my journey has taken me, I was twice in the US last year. I was in San Francisco or Silicon Valley in December to sort of understand what they're doing different to what we're doing here in Oz. And I also was at Macon, which is the biggest AI conference, to understand what are they doing different. They are scaling businesses. And what I normally hear is everyone goes, well, they got so much more people to sell to. Well, that's a little bit of truth to it. But the thing is that they do marketing very, very well. Because of the amount of competitive nature it has in the US, they do marketing really well. So we are of the firm belief, and we have seen this over and over, is that, the better your marketing is, the easier you can scale and build your business. And that's what we're going to try and solve. Now, one of the biggest problems we see, and this is a research piece, is What this is a research piece done by Local IQ interviewing business across the globe. And it's an interesting research piece because on the one side is ask what marketing advertising channels are you currently using? And then you will see on the left-hand side, social media marketing is 52%, social media is 47%, then search advertising takes third spot, then SEO. On the right-hand side, you see how satisfied are you with the results you get from each marketing that you're using, which is more what is what actually delivers the highest ROI. And then you'll see there's a disconnect between search advertising sitting at 76% as the number one, from an ROI point of view. But the left-hand side, the biggest activities run social media marketing. And the challenge you have is that a lot of business believe that if they're on social, it means that their presence will deliver results. And if we had a graveyard of businesses that have come to us that have spent tens and twenties and maybe 50 to $100,000 on having high expectancies and then losing money at the end, that will be definitely one of the strategies they sort of got wrong. So the answer is not to not do social media marketing. It's just to really know what it's good for and to make sure you get the right marketing mix. Has anyone is this resonating with anyone? So if you can just in the chat just respond whether you've had great success with doing all your marketing from social media marketing, or if you've also had you're sometimes not getting the results you hoped you desired from it, because it certainly does have a role. It's just sometimes not as ROI driven as we'd like it to be. So and of course the thing is, what we are going to show you is that how we've sort of worked in this to try and fix that. Then the next thing is that if you are feeling that getting new leads and customers is your number one barrier to growth, it's funny, if you look at the same survey, the number one problem, or the number two problem after economic conditions and uncertainty, and this was before the war in Iran, that's probably higher now, is getting new leads and customers as the second biggest problem. And so this is not just a Australian challenge. This is a global challenge. So the better we can get at that, and the better we can address that and find strategies to do that, the better we can grow our businesses and get more businesses from the into the 2 million over, and then from $10 million and over. So our mission is really, what we want to do is to ensure that with the strategy and strategies we're going to present, share with you, is to sort of go, well, yeah, the 5 key things that you can do to address that. The other thing that's also a barrier is that ad costs aren't getting cheaper, which is also a challenge. They keep going up every single year. So you either need to improve your marketing, or you are going to be in just for these annual increases, on that. What's quite crazy is that if you look at, I'm just looking at globally, is that you've had ChatGPT, entering globally, and AI and Claude, Perplexity, and you've got all these AI platforms coming, yet Google and Meta's revenue is still up. They are still winning, which says to me that the only way they could win is because people are spending more time on all these other platforms as well, is that it's actually had to increase their pricing to be able to get there. So that just gives you a bit of background in your global sort of, what's happening globally. Now, for us, what we see as the biggest challenge when business generally come to us is that the traditional marketing funnel from top down is what most businesses use, and that's what taught university. And it is something that worked in the 80s and 90s really well. So you run TV ads, radio ads, do magazine ads and billboards, and then people will filter down the funnel. Now, the problem is with that today is that it is really expensive to do that, number one. And also, number two is media fragmentation. So to run TV ads, you must have a lot of money to really have an impact. And most businesses, if you look at the 93% that's under 2 million, or under $5 million mark, actually don't have a spare 10 or 20 or $30 million, advertising budget they can just put on TV and radio magazines. So what you need to do is ensure that you actually get this mix right. So what we've had, which has been a breakthrough for us, is that when we see strategies that come in like this with all traditional marketing focus, we flip the funnel. And this has been what's worked for us, and we'll show you some of the results we've gotten for some of our clients, just to give you sort of some ideas how this could work. What we do is that if you want to get the highest bang for buck in your marketing, you want to make sure that you're spending the money where you've got the highest buying intent customers. So the person that's actually going to the grocery store, that's going to buy a certain product and standing at the till to pay, are the ones that you most likely want to convert. to try and convert somebody that's not even thinking about buying that product is a lot more expensive. It could be 10, 15, 20 times more expensive. So what you want to ensure is that if you can make sure that your marketing is sort of flipping the funnel by going to the buy intent marketing, which is your search marketing. And I think soon we will see ChatGPT and some of the AI platforms also have marketing ads within their platforms, which is by intent, where you can ring fence that. And then what you do is you do some really good retargeting with meta ads and on YouTube and all the other channels to make sure that once somebody's qualified themselves through, by intent, you can actually retarget them very successful on other social media platforms. Does that make sense? If you guys can just sort of in the chat, just see that you guys are still with me and this is making sense. This is the most quietest presentation I think I've ever done. Generally, when I speak at a conference, there's a lot of noise and it's quite quiet. So so I just like get some feedback as we go along with that, because obviously you would like to add as much value. But in principle, what we do is that we actually, flick the budgets around. Instead of spending 80% on awareness and 20% on search at the bottom, we actually go, well, what about 50 to 60% on search and then 30 to 40% on social? And just by doing that, most businesses get a 30 to 40% better ROI on their ads because they're not qualifying people. So now here's just some of the results, and I'm showing you guys this just from a credibility point of view. We've helped Adam Hudson. For those of you that know Adam Hudson, there might be some of you know him. He's a famous Australian entrepreneur. His business was struggling. He was selling portable toilets for $2,500, and I was hesitant to take him as a client because I asked him, how much is the price of one of your competitors? And he said $150 at Bunnings. And I said, well, I'm not sure we get able to fix a $2,500 price tag, for one of these items. And that business grew from $18,000 to $125,000 a month in the first 6 months. The same strategies that we've used there, we've helped Adidas. We've also helped Le Coq Sportif increase their e-commerce sales by 49%. The key thing is that these strategies I'm going to present to you actually work across, whether it's your e-commerce legal templates business, or whether it is insurance. As an insurance company in Sydney that's up against a lot of big brands. They're up against they've got Coles Pet Insurance, they're up against Woolies Pet Insurance, they're up against a lot of these large companies, and we help these guys increase their sales within 30% of the same marketing budget. Now, why this is interesting is that a cost per click around there can be anything from $12 to $13, for a click. So when you sort of play at this level, you want to make sure that for 100 clicks, you can $4,300, and you better sell policies to make that work. So worked in New Zealand for container shelters. We, increased their ROAS by 7 times whatever they spend, what their marketing budget was. And then this one is a really interesting one because this is a local pizza supply, but they're up against Domino's and against Pizza Hut. And we've helped them when they spend about $51,000 on ads, and they got a direct return of 870,000 pizza orders. It also won the best local marketing campaign across Australia and the entire APAC in February this year. But I guess what I'm showing you guys before jumping the strategy is that it's the same strategy. We're not doing a different strategy here to what we're doing to the e-commerce side of things. This is also another finalist. These guys, when they started about 14, 15 months ago, were doing $125,000 a month selling these trailers. And the trailers cost about $30,000 each. They're now doing about more than 30, and they're doing $1 million a month. And it's the same strategy that we are using for them. They're doing over $1 million in this. So if you're doing lead generation for manufacturing, type of business, it works really well, especially for products that are sort of hard ticket items. So this is another one, a Sydney client that we helped. It's a startup, and these guys have generated, just shy of just almost $200,000 of 18 grand of advertising. Now, there's a lot of case studies, but I think that is enough just to give you the picture that this works across different platforms. This is the 5-step formula. So this is the place where we are actually going to show you how we do this, because this is a skill swap. And my goal is for you guys to get as much value and actually practical skills from this. Before I get started, can I ask you guys in the chat to sort of, if you don't mind, if you've got a business that is sort of a small and startup phase, that's anything under $2 million, can you just say yes on the chat? Because I sort of see out of the audience that we've got, how many are under the $2 million. If you've got a business between $2 to $10 million, please say yes 2. And then if you've got a business over $10 million turnover, please say yes 3, if you don't mind. The reason I am asking you guys to do this is because as I present these strategies now, I can dovetail this more into where the majority of the audience is. Because if you are, if you're the strategies, how you apply these strategies for a $0 to $2 million business is different to how you'd apply them to a $10 million plus business. Hazel and Lisa, can you guys just give me just a rough estimate on their percentage wise, just going off that?
Yeah,
Um,
Dante, it looks like most people are under 2 million,
got
if
it.
not all. Yeah.
Cool. All right, cool. Okay, so we'll dovetail it under 2 million. The next thing you guys can do, is it a lead generation business, a service business, or is it an e-commerce business? Because then I can go into further than that as well. So if you guys can pop that in, and then I'm going to start presenting, that's also going to help me. If you can just let us know what that is, and then Hazel, if you can just let me know what that comes out to, then I can share that. All right, guys. So this is what we see. So I first want to sort of go that we are I would say I'm going to bucket us because it's very important how we look at this because there might be different views in this, but we are very conversion focused. And what that means in layman's terms is that we help businesses sell more with Google ads, meta ads, and conversion rate optimization. And the reason we choose those 3 vehicles is because we get the highest return on growing and scaling businesses. So the insights that you're going to see now are the ones that we attach with that so that you can apply them to your own business. So the first one I want to put in out of the 5 insights, and this is a very, very important one, is the problem is what we refer to is weak branding. Now, what happens in the $0 to $2 million side of business that companies get going, they got startups, and there's a lot of energy in that. And then they get a cheap designer overseas to do their branding, and then they go do ads. This is what typically happens is that they do the ads and studying the ads don't get results and I'll tell you why, because it doesn't give trust. And because if a business doesn't portray trust, it's a big, big, big risk for owner to take. So the first thing that we want to address is, is that weak branding is one of the things that we see can give you a difference between a $20 cost per lead and a $150 cost per lead. So the first thing we want to do is look at the brand foundational brand assessment. And the reason we stress about this and talk about this is because this is a really good about design through storytelling. And what you will see on the left-hand side here is that it's very cheap to actually create a brand, or create trust in your products. And we'll show you how you could do that. But to do that, you will see that as we are living now with the age of AI, technology and will not be the big differentiator it used to be in the past. Right. What will be a differentiator is creating a brand and a brand experience. Now, if you look at this, you've got beans on the left-hand side, which is a commodity. Right. If you go to the next part, you will see that these beans are packaged, then it's a product. Right. Still is not a brand. Then you got service and then you got experience. So when you create a brand at the bottom here, just having a product, you can be charging, let's say, $10 for that. When it gets to the end product, it could be $17, 70% more because you actually thought about all these steps and about thinking about your product. Now, Switzerland sells the most chocolate in the world, from what I understand. And the interesting thing is they don't grow coffee. They don't create the coffee beans, so they don't do that. So they actually have mastered the art to package and sell. So if you want to start thinking about having an edge in that $0 to $2 million mark, this is what the first thing you want to do. And then I would have people say, "Oh, branding doesn't matter." People don't really care about branding. It's what price. The problem with price is going to be Temu. It's going to be all, Asian websites. They're going to be coming in and they're going to be infringing your territory in Oz. And trying to win the price game based in Oz and New Zealand is going to be a really difficult one to do. And it's never sustainable. You might win it for 6 months, but to keep winning that is really tough. And I've taken a photo here just to show that does brand work. Well, if you look at the top, this is Spa water. It's $1 for the water. If you look at the bottom of that, this is Mount Franklin water, which is sitting $4.70 for 2, right? So they're charging more than 100% more, right? And they're selling a lot more water than Spa water, and it's both are still water that is coming in. There's no difference in the product. There's only difference. This is water, guys. We're not talking about any extra features. It is still water from mountains, and that's what shows you what the power of a brand. Now, the cheap design, what it does, it actually produces low levels of trust. and it produces lower conversion rates, and it also creates a high risk of purchase decision, which literally what it ends up doing is that your products or services are perceived of low quality. I want to ask a question. When you open up a website, how much time do you think you have to convince somebody that he's in the right place and he should read your website for any ad? Can I have any guesses on the chat coming through? Oh, I've got a very intelligent audience here today. 3 to 5 seconds, right? Now, if you got 3 to 5 seconds, right, and it's really, really small, you can really see that you don't have a lot of time. So if that design is not really polished or really looking good, it's making it just, sorry, I don't want to be there, right? So that's the risk. On the flip side is that you can outperform much bigger brands than you that are 50 times bigger than you by having producing good design which produces high levels of trust and then actually lowers the purchase decision. And what also happens that your products or services are perceived of higher quality. Olivia, please. Right. So what I'm going to go into, this is a 60-second test, and you can apply this. And this is the framework to see whether your brands can actually, how you can actually improve where you are. So what I've done here, on the left-hand side, you will see that we have literally got 6 things that you can have a look at immediately. Now, on the right-hand side is some of the top car insurance providers across Australia. What you'll see is that a lot of these brands, all these brands, would be spending more than $10 million a year on their marketing. Now, we're going to analyze this. The reason we are analyzing them on a mobile screen is specific because 50 to 60% of most brands' traffic actually comes from a mobile device. So if you want to go see how good your brand is, go put it on a mobile device and go see what your website looks like versus your competitors. Then these are the 6 things you can immediately do a 90 seconds test to see how good you are. Because if you win this, you or actually putting yourself ahead of your competitors. The first thing you'll do is their professional design, right? Now, if you look at this, you will see that UE on the left-hand side here is a really good professional design and budget direct to a certain degree. What you will see is that RACQ and competitor 3, which is Amy, which you will not believe, right? These are multi-million-dollar brands, right? That I would say that if you took this to a design competition, they will not win. Right, so they're missing our enormous revenue opportunity. This year would be costing them millions of dollars a year in not having this designed in a professional manner, right? So this is not just small brands that miss this. This is even big brands as well. But you can see the ones that do it right. Coincidentally, I actually worked in UE 2007 when they came into the country, and they were told in 2007, 2008 they won't survive against Amy. They will not make it because Amy has got the foothold and no one's been able to oust them. The funny thing is UE has grown from strength to strength, and this is not 2020. This is done in 2025. You can see that the design, you can see they've taken the things that matter to actually make a difference. The second thing, design hierarchy. Now, design hierarchy is to make it easy for somebody to scan that. And in simplest forms, if I give you everything at one time, it's quite a lot. It feels like typical when you ask, your top sales guy to do a marketing brochure. It's got 45 things. They're all equal. There's not one thing that's better or more. What you want to do, and you can see this here, the design hierarchy here. You've got an image at the top, which shows the target audience. Then you've got the font sizing splits that are going from top down. It's easy to get. So it's what you digest cognitively to make it easy for somebody to take in a manner that's easy to understand. Now, if you look at UE's doing it well, budget will probably get a second prize. And what you can see with Amy, it's very difficult to see. It's just a lot of stuff everywhere. And same here with RACQ. The third thing is having the customer the hero of your story. If you guys want to read a great book, Story Brand by Donald Miller, great book. And you can see here is that they're going after women, buying car insurance. They can see that the key decision maker and the customer can see themselves in the story. Yeah, at RACQ, I don't know who's going to see themselves in that story. There's a lot of elements there. I think if you're doing and I'm probably going to make light humor of this, but a play school, some illustrations here that on the top here, it's not appealing to the target audience. We want to make sure that your target audience can be heroed in your design. The next thing is having a good value proposition, and that is generally speaking, is there an offer? And you can see in this case, you can see that Budget's got to offer, Amy's got to offer, but they got a lot of stuff they don't have. The fifth thing is contrasting call to actions. You can see the call to actions are very clear to apply here, very easy to see what you want me to do. And then the fifth thing is to add credibility and add more credibility and add more credibility and add more credibility. And if you've added a lot of credibility, add more credibility, because people buy credibility, especially if you are a business that's between $0 to $2 million. And you can see credibility over there, awards they won, and the reviews they got. So there's a 60 to 90-second test you can do to see, to get your mobile page to work before you send any ads to it. You want to make sure that those elements are in play. Next one. This is just to show you when you start applying these principles. This business here is owned by the ex-owner of Stockland's wife. They, if you know his history, it's a Jewish family in Australia, and they're very successful. This building costs millions and millions of dollars, and they've got a lot of buildings like that. And this is what it looked like before we started working with them. What we did is, by applying the principles I've told you, is that we're to keep the brand guidelines. We've really just gone and taken what they've got, and we've added credibility over there. We've put the call to actions in there. We've put a design hierarchy in place, and you can see the credibility adding there, and easy to scroll and to understand what's going on there. Can you guys see the difference in taking the same brand from where you were? It's on the previous slide, right? We take the same business. This is a really big business, by the way, but you wouldn't perceive that from seeing the first screen. When you go in the second screen, it gives more justice in terms of where this business is. I'll show you one more example. This is before. They're one of New Zealand's biggest container shelter sellers, and then how we would turn that around and actually apply everything I've told you, apply those insights on a mobile and desktop. You can see it's easy to scan. You can see the product is the hero in the story. You can see the credibility, and you can see all the elements in there. So that's a basic application you can do to your business to make sure that you are standing out from your competitors. And when you go through this journey, you're probably going to see that you're actually not doing that bad versus your competitors, and actually you can do better than some of your bigger competitors. So that's the first out of the 5 insights. The next one that we see is market demand and competitive analysis. We see this as a really huge opportunity, and this should be taught at every single marketing school and entrepreneurial school across the globe, but it doesn't, unfortunately. But today, I'm excited to share this with you, because what happens is that any business, you're either going to get business two ways. You're either going to create demand for your product or new service, or you're going to capitalize on people's purchase demand. The thing is, you need to know what is the purchase demand for your product, because if you know that, it will make your chance of getting a business 80 to 90% better. If there's no demand for your product or service, you have to pay to create demand. That's very expensive. A lot of businesses actually close because of that single big reason. They thought they will create a demand, they did the marketing, and no one bought it. But if you're capitalizing what people want, then you know how much they want. You can actually create the business. Now, I'm going to show you how to do that. So instead of guessing, there's all these free tools. You can go and get Google Ads, and some to Google Ads. Go to Google Ads Planner. You can also use SimilarWeb and SEMrush, but Google Ads Planner is the best one to do this. And what you want to go do, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. So we've created a fictitious car insurance company, and we're going to pretend like we are creating this brand, and we're going to sell that. And this is the process we would exactly go through. So the first thing we'll go is to go, right, you identify the keyword themes, like a book cover that's got book chapters in, and we'll go see what are people searching before they buy car insurance. That is the most important thing. It's the first thing we want to find out. The second thing we want to find out is how many people are actually searching for it. We can see, is there a market for that? And the third thing, well, they can apply and dovetail our strategy behind that. So in this case, we'll go brand searches, which are all competitors, and then people that haven't decided on a competitor, what they search. And you get car insurance, compare. So if I go into this, and I'm going to skip forward to this, and using these tools, right, we are going to get to a stage where we take that, download all that data, and we're going to map the path to purchase to understand what the market demand is. So whatever service or product you're selling, you really want to understand how to do this. So in this case, I can show you. So we've done the research. We've pulled the data from Google Ads, and it's in Keyword Planner, and you can see the amount of people that are looking for car insurance based on locations. There's car insurance Queensland, and car insurance Queensland, Australia, Melbourne. There's around 45,000 people a month are looking for car insurance based on the location. Then people looking for compare, there's 396,000 people are looking to compare car insurance. Third one here is descriptors. The people looking for cheap car insurance, best car insurance, rental car insurance. So you can see that. Interesting thing is that you'll see business car insurance. There's 8,100 searches a month for that. People looking for it. You know what the interesting thing is that there isn't somebody that really owns business car insurance that well, that actually looks after that niche. So you can actually go create a business car insurance website that just speaks about business car insurance, how you can serve a customer really well, and you can actually create that as a spin-off opportunity. But what you understand is how people search and how many people have got that problem every single month. This is telling us directly what problems they have. Then you've got just car insurance searches. Then you've got by brand car insurance. Now, the key thing I want to share here is that When we look at this, can you see the competition? That's also reflective of what your ads are going to cost. What we are looking for is mass searches, right? Large volume searches with low competition, because it means it's going to cost cheaper to buy these keywords here than it's going to buy for the other ones. In that way, we can dovetail our strategy. But I would encourage you to go find out for your business and the services you provide, what people are searching for, what the demand is, so you can really understand how to market your business properly. Step 3, this is creating ads that convert. Now, most ads don't struggle to convert. So if you run ads and it hasn't converted because you've got a low click-through rate, people aren't responding to your ads, I'm going to show you some really cool tricks here that you can do, that you can apply to your marketing. The first thing is that we would say ads fall in these 2 buckets. On the left-hand side, you get low purchase appeal ads. They are business and self-centered ads. It's all about us and how wonderful we are, and it repels customers. Unfortunately, it's not the most attractive ads, right, for people to respond to, because you aren't getting into their world of problems. On the right-hand side, which is high purchase appeal, it's got customer-centered benefit and benefit-focused ads. So it's focused on the customer's problem and how you can solve their problems. Because you have a problem, we have the answer. It attracts people. Now, in our example that we showed you earlier with the fictitious car insurance brand that we've created, we're going to show you what we would do. This here is without knowing, I've worked in car insurance before, but to really get a subjective view, this is what you can do, guys. This is a really big trick. So I want you to get your pens and papers out. What we did is we went out and we took those competitors set, UE, Budget Direct, RACQ, Amy, and all the car insurance. And we went to their Google reviews. We copied their Google reviews, all of it, and put it into a Word document. We went to Trustpilot and some of the comparison review sites and copies. So we literally had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reviews, all just scraped, right, into a Word document. We then took that document and we put it into AI, and we asked AI to please tell us, what do people hate about car insurance and what do people love about car insurance, right? And then we want them to not just tell us what they love and hate, we also want to let us know what do they hate most, and rank that based on the amount of people that complain about it, and also what they love most, and actually rank that, but what they love most percentage wise. Because yes, 2 things are going to happen. The first thing is that we now know what the benefits and the pain problems are that our customers have. And it's not, we didn't make this up. This is now scientifically built, what the whole industry is telling us, right? And we now have got that. The second thing is we can actually got a hierarchy of messaging we can apply now when we go in and apply this, because now our marketing is now based on what people really want and what they don't want. Does this make sense, guys? Is this helping anyone on the chat? Please let me know. Because I think this could really help your marketing to be really effective. And you'll see here. So, and I'm going to show you not just how to do this, I'm also going to show you guys how you can apply this to your marketing. On the left-hand side, you will see what people hate about car insurance is skyrocketing renewal prices, right? They also hate complex claim processes, restricted repair options, and then endless wait times for support. So can you guys see that this is immediately, and I'll read this, I actually go, oh, that's interesting. That is me. The stuff that I don't like. And I'm sure we all look at that and we go, oh, and that's when you get good marketing, where the marketing is so good, you go, they get me. The epiphany of actually getting great marketing is people go, finally, somebody gets me. This is on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, this is what they want, is competitive pricing and discounts, simple, fast claims process, freedom to choose repairs, and quick, reliable support. Can we see we get the benefits? And they go, oh, that's what I want, right? Now, what I'm going to show you is this is how you craft the ads, and you can see how this works. So here's the landing page we created for Car Insure. Can you guys see that? Can you see the top what we got there? They said they wanted to offer or price discount. There it is, right there, the first thing, right? We've given it to them. They said to us they don't want no rate increases. Can we see how we take the biggest pain point immediately away in the first part of the messaging? Then we go to the next part. They want 24/7 Australian support, local support. We've put that in there. Transparent claims process, no hidden fees. Can you guys see how we've used exactly all the information that we've done the research on and applying this at the top part of our homepage? Why? Because we only got 3 to 5 seconds for somebody to actually see this and actually go whether they're going to go further. Now they look at this versus your competitors and you actually get them because you can help them better, right? Then you can also see on the right-hand side, we got retargeting ads. And after somebody's been here, because the other thing is that you are lucky to convert, 3 to 10% of your customers into a sale in insurance. The other 90%, this is majority for brands, are not going to convert. They'll convert later. And those customers, you can retarget What we do here, we retarget them 0 to 3 days, 3 to 7 days, 7 to 10 days with a different message, and look at the 6 messages. Each message is taken away a pain point. High renewal prices, we've got that. We've got that sorted out. Next one, easy claims process, got that. We sorted out. So we're indoctrinating a customer with retargeting ads and telling them, reminding them on each of the things that we can solve for them if they come to this brand. So, and that is purely based because we've done our homework over here. We know what they want and what they don't want. And then we've tailored our landing pages and we've tailored our retargeting ads to actually be effective. So when you go look back at all the ads you've run, if you had struggled with ads, here are some principles you can go apply to your own brands to make it a lot more effective, which is based on the business is good. Then step 4, optimizing landing pages conversions. I think there are going to be a lot of screenshots in this. I'm actually going to show you how we do it. So the missing link converting traffic is that if you're going to put a design landing page, you're going to struggle to convert. And here I've got a 10-point landing page formula to drive engagement and sales. So you can loosely apply this, to your marketing. And at the top, you got a hook, then you got the benefits, and then you got your credibility sector, which you can add there. Then you got your customer benefiting image. You got emotional reasons to buy. Then you got logical reasons to buy. You got social proof, and you get the offer repeated. And here's your mobile desktop experience. All of this is a quick way for you to go see how to apply your marketing. So in this, the key thing here is to make sure that you can apply the insights, ads, and landing pages. And yeah, you can go look at this landing page. I saw a lot of screenshots being taken. So go look what you've got and do assessment on your own landing page or homepage and see how it is. Because at the end of the day, the customer needs to win, and this is how we let them win. Right, step 5, the final step: tracking, scaling, and optimizing. Right, guys. So the issue with this is really important. Is that what we find is that also that a lot of customers do a lot of marketing. They might be spending 10 grand a month on ads, but they actually don't know what works. And my recommendation is very, very simple. You want to make sure that you know exactly, have your tracking in play to understand what your cost per lead is, what your cost per sale is, and also that to ensure that your retargeting is done effectively. And then the fourth thing is very important is to put something like Wildjar for call tracking to also put this onto your landing page. Because some of our lead generation clients, you might get 5 to 6% of the audience filling in forms. The other 5 to 6% of the audience is actually calling. And having the combination of both of those there is actually very powerful. And then when you do the call tracking, what's wonderful, it's a great insight. It actually, it tracks the entire call in the sense it records the call. You download all those calls into AI, and you can actually analyze what are the best sales arguments, the sales sequence, what works and what doesn't work as well, which then also becomes nice IP that you can put into your marketing strategy. But given that, let's say if you've done your landing pages, your targeted campaigns and you got your retargeting in place, you optimize and repeat this process. And this is where you go from creating one business to a second business, or adding new products or services. But this is the process that you go through. All right, guys. So I'm not sure if this link is working, but if you are doing, this is only for customers. Unfortunately, I wish I can help all of you guys, but if there's somebody that's doing more than $5,000 in ads a month and sort of struggling with this, you are more than welcome to hit us up and we can do analysis for you. If you're not in that space, don't worry at all. I hope that what we've presented is going to help you to apply these insights to you, and which you can apply to your business. So that's it for me, guys. I think we are on 41 minutes. I think I needed it finished on 40 minutes. And so 1 minute over. So sincere apologies for that. So you guys are more than welcome to fire off your questions. I think Hazel.
We have one question
Yes.
so far from Emily. Where would you recommend a beginner goes to learn more about this?
Okay. Emily, no problem at all. Emily, if you can tell me firstly what type of business you've got, what type of service you are selling, or products, then I can probably give you direction from there, because it could be different on where to learn about it.
Okay.
So if she can just let us know on that.
Digital product for a nutrition business.
Digital product for a nutrition business. So The first thing you want to do, Emily, is to first go and see whether people are searching for that. And there's a guy called Aaron Young who's got a Google's Academy, Define Digital Academy, that can teach you about Google Ads. There's a lot of stuff in there, but it's quite a bit of work that you have to work through to first understand how many people are searching for the product that you are selling. That's the first thing you do. The second thing you probably want to think about is just having a look at if there's competitors that are doing something similar to you on Meta Ads Library, where you can see competitor ads, and then go and see what they are doing and see if there's something you can learn from them before you get started. So those are two things that I would do if I was in your shoes. More questions?
Stephen has a question. He asked, you mentioned landing page and homepage branding, which is better to tailor?
Both. Both. So we live in this world where people want to have a Netflix experience of your brand before they even get to you. And what that means is that they would like to go make the purchase decision and try as much of that before they speak to you. So the better your homepage is, and the better your landing page is, the better your marketing will be. But for your homepage, the best way to describe what the purpose of a homepage, the homepage is like an airport. It needs to channel something to the next stage of that marketing channel. You need to have the big overarching problem that you have that you solve that they can find on the homepage, and then direct them to the page that's best going to help them to specifically solve that problem. So hopefully that helps, Stephen.
We've got a couple of questions coming in now, but I just want to say thank you, Dante. That was very insightful. There's a lot of things happening there, and I think as everyone's starting to digest it, we do have a couple of questions coming through from that one.
Sure.
So the next one I think was, oops, where's my chat? Was Brigitta's. As a startup business, how much would I expect to spend on marketing? I have a service business for one-to-one sessions, but want to focus on one-day workshops, 3-day and 5-day retreats.
Right. Good question. So this is also a bonus insight that I sort of want to give. There's a book called Buy Back Your Time that is an incredible book on business strategy. He's got a lot of AI businesses, and he is worth more than $100 million. And it is 20 years, you had Rich that put it. This is Buy Back Your Time as the book now. He's done 1,800 books, a lot of business strategy advice. But before I answer your question, I think that's really something I wanted to get out and share with you guys, because there's a lot of smart businesses that are growing and scaling based on that book. So to answer your question is that I always go that depending, sometimes if you're a new business, you need to, you think about 10 to 20% of your advertising to get off the ground, to get enough awareness and traction of the turnover that you want to get. Once you start getting established, you can be anything from 5 to 10% of turnover that you're trying to reinvest. If you look at, it's funny because some business, they brag they only spend 1 to 2%, but the thing is they could have been a lot bigger. In the US, a lot of your Fortune 500 companies spend 5 to 10%. Some of them, the ones that a lot of the brands, ones that you are aware of, and they're very successful because they actually make sure that they are building that narrative. They're in the market all the time, and they ensure that they are winning. But when you look at the type of business you've got, you need to have a look at, ensure that the transaction that you're putting in does include a marketing component. So if you're going to, let's say, for instance, are selling a product for $2,000, you need to think about, well, is my marketing cost going to be $200, all up, and I want to sell 10 of them, to get to $20,000, for instance, think of it that way. And if the marketing doesn't, if you go, all the marketing is expensive, the challenge is you might be charging too cheap for your product to actually accommodate marketing, because really great brands accommodate that in their marketing to ensure that they successfully grow their businesses and they become sustainable. Because what you have is that the economy is fickle. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down. With COVID, suddenly things drop, or something just goes up, but to ride that out is to make sure that you are in the market all the time. So make sure that you've got sufficient marketing budget for that. That's the first thing. The second thing I would go is that try get a retainer-based model on top of your just once-off ticket, because when you got once-off ticket businesses, you have to continue getting new customers all the time. And then maybe try see in stepping up a program that actually brings in recurring income as well. That is a thing that I see from the business that actually scale and grow, because that recurring incomes allow them to actually point staff, reinvest in marketing, and actually grow and expand their businesses. And they're also a lot more lucrative to buy in 5 to 10 years' time when you want to sell them. So hopefully that answers your question.
We do have about 4 more questions
Cool.
there I can see. So as the session is finished, so thank you everyone for attending. If you do have to duck off, go for it. If you've got time, Dante, we'll take these last couple of questions because we are recording it. So if people do have to leave, they'll still be able to listen in later. So 100%. The next question was, how would you structure the copy in your meta ads, and how long should the copy be?
So the meta, it's very, very interesting, because meta, you need to understand, I think the first thing to understand is that what you're putting out in meta needs to resonate to understand where somebody's in the purchase funnel that you are targeting. If you are targeting somebody cold, it'll be different to somebody retargeting someone that's been in your website. So, and the difference between those two is remarkable. It's a really big difference. So what we generally see is that people spend a lot of money on meta. They get a lot of leads. People just do the form fill-ins, but they get very low conversion rates. The sales teams are very frustrated. So what we recommend with Meta is to actually create a separate landing page, not just do the lead generation on Meta, because you can easily, it flatters you to think that you get 100 leads, but what's really important is how many of those 100 leads actually convert, because we'd rather take 20 or 30 of those 100 leads that are somebody did a form fill-in, went through the whole brand sales narrative in terms of what actually they are looking for, and they can see themselves wanting to use that product, so that we can see whether they're more qualified in that process. But in terms of how long the ads are, generally not everyone opens up, clicks, actually reads the entire ad. I think very few people actually read the entire ad, the copy at the top. So what we try and do is to ensure that on those first 2 sentences at the top of your ad, that it actually addresses the immediate pain point of the problem that you want to address. And anything else is a bonus if they read it. And then ensuring that the visuals and the copy that's on the visual ad itself and the call to action makes sense and adds some form of value.
Excellent. So that's like that retargeting on the screen you've got there at the moment, isn't it? Because that's like 7 ads, but it covers all the different pain points, but it's instant. Like you'll see it and it's like, oh, got it. Where if that was all in one, we wouldn't read it. No. We know about 3, 4, 5.
That's right.
Okay. Correct. Asks, what about a very high competitive market with thousands of providers?
If you can give me a bit more clue, what is the market, the market category? Then I can address it. So just what type of market it is, because
I was Jeff here. I asked that question. It's financial services with property investment, and so it's hard to get SEO.
Yeah, Jeff, good question. Jeff, SEO is a strategy that is something you stack as the final part of your marketing strategy. To give you an example, we had a big financial services, worked in a big, large national financial services client. In 2018, about 30 to 40% of their sales came through SEO. Now that will probably be sitting between 6 to 10%. Or about a year ago, it's between 6 to 10%. Because of SEOs diminishing, getting a lesser impact it used to, because Google doesn't make money in SEO. So you need to accommodate that. If your core strategy is SEO, it's a really tough one to build a sustainable business in that market. And then also that SEO has got a lot of backlinking and a lot of work that goes into it. And, the best content's going to win. So what you'd find is that your bigger providers normally have, full-time people that are working, around that to create a lot more effective content in that, So what in that space, the sort of the fastest way, if you want to get into a very competitive space, is to ensure that you've got good ads running and you pay for the traffic with good landing pages, and try to get a good return and offer something the competitors, or make a better offer than the competitors can make in that space. And get them into your system. But property is very much also, has its quirks. If the interest rates goes up, then for 2-3 months, things are more quiet. Versus when interest rates come down, you don't have enough stock to sell. So you need to sort of be aware of that also as part of your marketing strategy. But I think what we do is we do SEO for a number of clients, but we always do it as a it's a compound effect on all the other marketing efforts that we can control, because SEO changes, quite a lot. And when it does change, if it's negative, you could lose a lot of your business. But if it's a compound effect, it sort of just adds to your business strategy as opposed to being dominated by it.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Jasmine from the Centre for Accessibility Australia says, I've tried using Google Word Planner, but finds it very confusing. Doesn't really apply to the context of meta ads because of different algorithms. And
Yep.
yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I think it's a good observation, because Google is keyword, is specific keyword people are searching before they purchase, and then Meta is obviously audience targeting. But depending on which version of Google Ads Planner you've got, because if you're on a new version that's probably in the last 2 to 3 years, they give you less data than the old versions where you got more specific data on your keyword search volumes. So that could also be a factor that you probably want to investigate, because instead of going, there's 20 searches or 30 searches a month for smaller search terms, it actually shows 100 to 1,000 search terms, which doesn't give you much. So you might just want to investigate that. And then obviously with Meta, the key thing, they're trying to remove, the features around audience targeting. But when you've got retargeting set up, you actually know where that person was before you retarget them.
Thank you. I'm still reeling from all the information, and it makes so much sense. It actually seems really, really simple, but I know that there's a lot behind it. So thank you for really pointing it out so that everyone has an idea of where to go to next. So thank you, Dante, for sharing your knowledge with us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. And if you'd like to connect further, we will pop Dante's details after the session. When we send out the email with the recording, we'll make sure that you've got how to contact him. Don't forget, we run these skill swap sessions every month, so the last Tuesday of the month. So keep an eye out for the next one. And I've had a sneak peek of the next couple, and we've got some really, really cool stuff coming up. So make sure that you jump on when you see them. And I hope everyone has a great day. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much, Dante. That was awesome. Nice work, Tia. So good.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thank you.